beautiful people, what is up, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a really special Get Ready With Me, because today my Get Ready With Me is actually a collab that I'm doing with my dear friend Lock Maiden. Okay, so Lock is actually one of the women that I met in this beauty community when I really dived into this indie space, when I really dived into content creation, and we actually became really good friends. And I say friends because this girl knows my address and she knows my phone number. So, you know, if I give you my address and my phone number, we are friends, because I'm a true crime junkie and I have zero intentions of ending up on a Lifetime documentary, period. So just really quickly, she is just the sweetest person. I feel like she's the complete opposite of me in the best way, where I am loud, a little bit obnoxious, and just very over the top in some ways. She is calm and so sweet and just has a sense of peace and just calm and quiet about her that is just the absolute best. She's so lovely to listen to. She has the most calming, beautiful voice. So she's one of the creators that I actually listen to when I'm doing things like cleaning or doing the dishes or meal prepping, because she's just really easy to listen to. Now, her content is pretty much focused on indie and high-end and luxury makeup like mine, but she has almost this dual approach to the way in which she does content. One, she does a lot of everyday friendly, very wearable looks, and then two, on the other side, she does take a very artistic approach and creates these very abstract sort of art pieces on her face, which I absolutely love. So you know the drill. Once you're done watching this video, go and head over to Lock's channel, let her know I sent you, leave a black heart under her videos, and make sure you check out her Instagram as well. All of her information will be down in the description box below, so make sure you check her out. And I'm also realizing I didn't tell you what we were doing. So Lock and I have been trying to do this collab video for some time, and God bless her, she's been so patient, because I have had a lot going on with work and moving and all of the travel that I've had to do for work, plus getting sick. So this has been in the works for a couple months, and we've gone back and forth on what we wanted to focus on. And what we landed on is that we're going to do a video focused on discontinued makeup that we are still loving today. Now, the intent isn't for you guys to feel FOMO or to feel like you missed out. It's just a way to honestly remind you guys to check your makeup collection, because so many times we're focused on the new that we don't really dive into our collections and really enjoy the pieces that we have, especially the limited edition or the discontinued pieces that you can no longer get. So this is a reminder to dig in your collections, pull out those pieces that are now discontinued, and give them some love. If this is your first time watching my channel, welcome. I'm Jamila. I love all things beauty, and here on my channel I try to focus on how you can get some of the best high-end luxury and indie makeup at the best prices, because we don't pay full price for makeup. We say it all the time on this channel. That's kind of our mantra, because these makeup prices be pricing and ain't nobody got time for that. So that's it for this intro. I'm gonna just dive right in. I will say I do not have a full face of discontinued makeup, because they're just certain products that I just don't keep around that long. But I have a decent selection of products. So I'm just gonna dive right in, starting of course with the eyeshadow. My eyes are already prepped and primed, and for today's look, we're gonna dive into the Nomad Cosmetics Underground Berlin palette. I guess it's Berlin Underground. So I actually was able to find this at TJ Maxx. Now this has been long discontinued and it was brought back for a little time on Ipsy, and somehow this ended up in TJ Maxx. I don't know the trajectory of this palette, but it made its way to TJ Maxx, so I was able to pick this up even after it's been discontinued. So this is what we're gonna dive in. I did create one look with this already on a previous chat to Get Ready With Me, and I love the Nomad formula, so I'm excited to kind of dig back into this again and playing this again, because the Nomad formula is one of my favorites, especially their mattes. Now this is an older palette, so the formula is slightly different compared to some of the newer palettes, but it's okay, it's still good. So I'm gonna bring you guys a little bit closer, and I think I just want to stick with a really nice, warm, everyday friendly look today. I'm trying to do 3 to 4 videos after this one, so I'm not trying to spend all day blending eyeshadow, which you all know is my MO, but we ain't got time for that today. So I'm gonna go into whatever this shade is called, because I kind of pronounce it. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. I looked at it and I was like, oh, give it a shot, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it can be so disrespectful when you just mispronounce things. So I'm just gonna take that. It's a beautiful transition shade. One thing I will say about this palette, and this is my second time using it, like I said, is that there aren't a lot of mattes in it. It's very, very shimmer heavy. But some of these shimmers seem to look more like satins, which means that if they perform like high quality satins, I can blend them out and use them as true shimmers. So fingers crossed. My forehead looks hella bruised. I don't know. I think I'd be fighting people in my sleep, y'all, because I just have random bruises on my forehead. Now, I know I have a couple on this side, and that's because I got bit by mosquitoes. And I used the bug bite thing to suck out the, I think it's their saliva or their venom, which causes the itching. Now, one of you who follow me on Instagram very kindly said, you know you're not supposed to use that on your face, right? And I didn't know that, but it was too late. So I had already used it on my face, and it did help with the itching, but I understand why you're not supposed to use it on your face, because it basically like creates, you know, bruises because of the suction motion. It's kind of like a hickey on your forehead, which I guess is a weird place to have a hickey, you know? Either way. But those seem to be fading now, and no real permanent damage. But don't use it on your face if you end up buying it. Follow the people them instructions. Don't be like me, who didn't even read the instructions. I just assumed I knew how to use it. So, like I said, for this collab, we're focusing on discontinued products. I will say that I struggled with the eyeshadow portion of this because I feel like eyeshadow palettes tend to be discontinued most frequently. And in a lot of ways, I understand, right? Because most people are not panning eyeshadows. And once you have an eyeshadow, you're not exactly purchasing a second one of it. I know very few people that have bought two of the same eyeshadow palette. And I think most of the people who do that are makeup artists, and somehow I feel like they tend to use different products than, you know, us regular schmegular folk. So because of that, I think there comes a point where, I'm gonna go into this red shade here, there comes a point where the customer base for a potential palette no longer exists, because we've already bought the palette, right? Most of us. So I understand why they discontinue palettes. I think there are so many palettes that have been discontinued that I could have chosen for this. I was looking at my Odin's Eye limited edition palettes that they've done from their series with creators. I was also looking at my Byredo palettes, the giant ones that they do for, I guess it's not holiday, but they do this one big palette a year. That was also one that I was looking into. The Old House Labs eyeshadow palettes, if you didn't know, they used to do eyeshadow palettes. That was also one that I considered. But I want to finish playing with this one because I do want to put this in a ranking the last 10 eyeshadow palettes I've tried video soon. So, and these mattes are just perfection. Love a good matte eyeshadow. Okay, for the outer corner, I'm going to take the black. Yeah, all of these shade names are so hard to pronounce. So I'm not even going to try, because then I'm gonna mess up, and I hate doing that. Especially when it comes to locations, you know, because that's people's homes, that's people's countries. For example, I hate when people say Trinidad and Tobago because it's Tobago. And I'm just like, ugh, it's irritating. So I don't like messing up other people's, like, you know, countries, homelands. I try to learn the accurate pronunciations when I can. I said I wanted this to be warm, but I feel like the mattes in this palette lean pretty cool. And like I said, there are a limited number of mattes, so there's only so much I can do. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna do, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna start with this purple. Yes, I know, it is a cool shade. I said I wanted warm, but just rock with me. And I'm gonna put that into the center of the lid here. We're gonna get a little warmth in the inner part, don't worry. And I'm using a dual-ended brush from Sigma. They're one of the few brands that continue to include brushes in their like eyeshadow palettes. ABH used to do that, but that's long since stopped happening. This is probably the quickest eye look I have ever done, and I'm so proud of me. But I'm trying to be quick because I have so many other videos I need to film, and I gotta clean, meal prep. It's Sunday, by the way. So, you know, I gotta adult today. And the best part is that this palette is so easy to work with and so stunning that I don't really have to do much. And then I'm gonna go into this yellow, it's like a canary yellow shade. Oh my god, it's called Poor But Sexy. That's how I feel sometimes when I look at my makeup spending. Poor but sexy. So I'm taking that yellow and I am plopping it into the inner third of the eye here. So we're gonna get a little bit of warmth. I'm not mad at this because I'm wearing a purple tank today, so this actually is a look. Okay, these shimmers are buttery soft. Okay, you guys see the vision. Let me quickly clean this up, add some liner, and then we're gonna get started on the rest of the face. Okay, so we are back and we're gonna get started on the rest of the face. Now, I don't have a discontinued primer, so I'm gonna use my Pat McGrath primer. Do not laugh, but this is... One day I just got to like inspecting the bottle and I just pulled it out, and this is what the inside of a Pat McGrath primer looks like. Now, this is on the more hydrating side, and it's definitely not my favorite primer. It kind of feels like lotion. So I am currently just trying to empty this. That is the goal. And y'all, when I tell you the packaging for this primer is so cheap, it is beyond cheap. I feel like my skin is starting to feel a little bit dry. You know, winter is coming. Winter is coming. Very Game of Thrones, I know. So that's what I'm putting on as a primer. God, I look casket ready. And there's no cast or tint to this. I just feel like with the seasons changing, my skin is starting to look a little off. I did put sunscreen down before this. I used the Fenty moisturizer, and that does give me a little bit of a gray cast. So there's that. Okay. Skin is skinning. For foundation, I did have a couple of options, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Bite Beauty Change Makeup Foundation. So this is actually, well, Bite as a brand no longer exists in the way in which they did before. So they actually got rid of all of their makeup except for their lipsticks, and they decided, you know what, we are just going to shut down. Yeah, you know, a lot of brands closed in pandemic time, and this was the foundation that they had released, and with them shutting down, I paid $4 for this. I have 4, maybe 5 bottles in a couple different shades because it was so damn cheap and I wasn't really sure what my shade was, so I bought like 4 of these. So this is the shade D150, which I think is the lightest one that I bought. I have 155 and I believe I have 160 as well. I wouldn't say it's too deep. I do think it matches me really well. And this is definitely I would say a medium buildable foundation. So you can get it up to really, really full coverage. I do like the finish of this. I do like the wear of this. This was made in Italy. I think that overall it's nice. It is just on the thicker side and not as lightweight as some other foundations that I've tried. But it's not super heavy, if that makes sense. So I'm just spreading that out on my face. I wish it came with a pump. It does have this little squeezy tube, which is not the best packaging in my opinion. But no real complaints over here. So I'm just gonna blend that into the skin. And if you apply just the right amount, you can still have skin that looks like skin. So it doesn't have to be full coverage. And a new thing that I am like learning to do is to not put a ton of foundation on my forehead. So what I've started doing in the last like 3 days is I've started applying foundation really to this part of my face, and then whatever's left on my sponge or my brush, I bring it up to my forehead. I think that's supposed to help with like oil control and shine, because I have like oily leaning skin, and so the less product you put on, the less oil production and shininess there. Do you have a little acne scar going on? I'm gonna add a little bit more to the cheeks to get a little bit more coverage, to help with some of my hypopigmentation. Okay, so next up, concealer. I don't really have any discontinued concealers. I keep my concealer collection very small. This is all the concealers that I have, so I don't really have anything that's discontinued. I'm gonna go in with my 430 Warm concealer. This is from Rare Beauty. This is actually one that I hadn't opened and I just recently started using, and I really like. I think the formula is really nice, and I don't like a stupid bright under eye. I like it to look as natural as possible, and I have hypopigmentation around my eyes, so that area already looks pretty light, which I try to cover up with foundation so I get a more even look on my face. So I don't like going in with a really, really bright concealer. So I'm gonna let that sit for a second before I go in and I start blending that in. While that's sitting, I will already let you guys know that I don't have a under eye powder to set my eyes with, so not going to be doing that, a discontinued under eye powder. But to set my face, I'm pulling out a fresh Dior Backstage, what's this called? Face and Body Powder, no powder. Now, Samantha March made this super duper popular, and I think that this is getting reformulated, but I don't know. I have no idea if they're reformulating it. But this is like such a beautiful, lightweight, translucent powder on the skin. And I had been kind of saving it because I know that they weren't bringing it back, or, you know, they were reformulating it, or whatever it is Dior is doing over there. So I'm opening a fresh one for you guys. So that's what I'm going to use to set my face. So now that this has been sitting for a while, I'm going to start blending everything in. I don't pick any specific place to start blending, I just start. And I definitely could have let this sit a little bit longer, but it's fine. See, it's just a natural brightness, nothing too crazy. And once I'm done blending in the concealer, I like to flip it over to the foundation side of the sponge just to clean, you know, kind of like blend the edges of the concealer and the foundation together, so it's a little bit more seamless. Okay, and to set the under eye, I'm just gonna go into my Pat McGrath under eye blurring powder. This is in the shade Deep. I am pretty much done with this. This is probably gonna be my last time using this powder, because as you can see, we've hit pan. So I am just taking my Sephora puff and basically scraping whatever's left to set my face. I love when I finish a makeup product. It makes me so happy, you guys. Not to mention I have so many powders that I need to use. So I'm using this really to set wherever I had concealer. And like I said, we are going into a fresh, brand new Dior Backstage no powder, no powder to set my full face. Now you're not really gonna see anything because this is such a translucent powder with literally like a hair of color. I think I had this in like 2 shades because the color doesn't really show up. So if you have a full coverage foundation, I would recommend, I can't say I'd recommend this, but I would have, because when you already have a full coverage foundation, you don't want to add more coverage, which is what some powders can do. Whereas this one, I feel like it just sets everything down really nicely without adding more coverage and making your makeup look more heavy. Heavier. Okay. So, the egg is back. You guys know, whenever my face is like one color, it looks like an egg. So let's add some definition. It's time to bronze, which is my second favorite part of my routine. I love bronzer. So when we were talking about this collab, the first thing that came to mind for me was my Morphe Glamour Bronze Bronzer in the shade Phenom. When Morphe brought this out, this was bomb.com. I love this bronzer. I think it's a beautiful shade. It definitely is on the red side, and I think there are better bronzers that have been released since, but it's still one that I reach for till, you know, today. This one has a huge dent in it. Like, I'm so close to hitting pan, and that's because I still use this. So I'm just gonna go into the, I guess that's my cheekbones area and around the perimeter of my face, just to give us a little bit of color, some life, some definition. And I do think that this applies and blends out so beautifully on skin. You see that? The immediate transformation, y'all. Now, I do think that this bronzer, it does exist, but in different shades. But I have not been able to find this Phenom shade ever. So, I don't know. And y'all know Morphe has been bankrupt, sold, bought, whatever it is. So, who knows? But this, amazing bronzer. And for drugstore, chef's kiss. So next up, blush. You know we gotta add some color to the cheeks, and I am pulling out an oldie. Now these are my House Labs blushes. Now before House Labs as we knew it, House Labs was a, I would say like a regular smegular brand. It was sold on Amazon exclusively. The packaging was, as you can see, pretty basic. This is just cardboard packaging, but they did have these beautiful dual blushes. Now you got a blush and a highlight, which to me was a little bit excessive because nobody needed that much highlighter. So I thought the highlighter was unnecessary, but the blush formula in these were absolutely amazing. So I'm actually gonna go in with the Pleaser Tease Duo. So this is the blush, this is the highlight. You can probably already see from these that it's pretty well used, it's loved. I got so much use out of this blush, I'm still using it. I actually picked this up during the, I guess the closed down sale of House Labs, because when House Labs was going through its reformulation, it was getting off of Amazon, all of the products were like 50% off. So I picked this up at 50% off, because you know me. Ain't nobody paying full price for makeup over here. So, but do you see? It's such a soft, beautiful, everyday friendly, wearable blush formula. And now I do like the, I take it back. I don't like the new blush formula from House Labs. I think it's okay. I actually was trying to return the one that I bought because I thought it was stupid expensive and not that great for what it was, but I missed the date, so now I still have it. I prefer the old House Labs blushes over that new one. Okay, let me stop before I look like a clone, which we're probably already there. But here we go. Beautiful. I love this blush formula. Chef's kiss. Actually, and I'm gonna take a little bit of Untamed. This is another one of the duos. So I'm actually gonna take a little bit of that and just add it to this. I know, I'm doing a lot. Mind your business. So. Just warming up the face, you guys. And we'll tone things down. What I like to do is I like to go over everything at the end with my powder brush. And you can do this with a finishing powder so that you have a pretty seamless pull together face. Okay, lastly, highlighters. Now, oh wait, this is the wrong one. What is this? No, this is the bronzer. This is one of the highlighters. Oh, found it. So for highlight, I pulled out my Marc Jacobs highlighters. These are so good, you guys. And I'm so glad that Marc Jacobs is making a comeback as a brand because they were bomb.com. Look at this. Stunning. Absolutely beautiful. So that one is called Jet Girl, and this one, this gold one, which has showed up so much times in different packaging, is called Guilt. So let's do this one because I think it's the warmer of the, actually let's do both. So I'm gonna take Guilt, put it on this side of the face. Beautiful. This is one of my favorite highlighter formulas. And I will say that generally speaking, I feel like highlighters are one of the products in my collection that I have a lot of that are discontinued. I feel like they do a lot of highlighters and then they get rid of the formula. But no one has ever panned a highlighter that I know of. So then I'm going to take a little bit of Jet Girl. And I'm putting Jet Girl on this side of the face. Just so you guys can see both of them. Jet Girl has a little bit more pink to it. But I think it's still so beautiful. So we have Guilty, Jet Girl. Yeah, I can definitely get away with both. Okay, so with that, I'm also going to take a little bit of Jet Girl and put it in the brow bone. And now I'm just gonna finish the waterline of this look, add some mascara, and then I'll come back and give you guys, you know, just sort of the final look, final thoughts on how I feel about, you know, discontinued products, and we'll wrap things up. Okay guys, so this is the final face. Just so that you guys know what I put on the lips, I went in with my MAC Cork lip line. I'm pretty sure that's still around, and actually I'm using a new lip gloss. This is from Mez Beauty. They are the ones that created the Swarthy palette, and y'all, these lip glosses are bomb.com. I actually have the full collection. They sent it to me in PR, and I really like these. First of all, they smell heavenly. And it's just really nice on the lips. They wear really well, they're comfortable, and they add just like the tiniest hint of color. So if you're not somebody that wants something that's super opaque, you can just throw this on the lip with a lip liner and you're good to go. Which is exactly what I did. Lip liner and a little bit of lip gloss. Perfection. Okay, so y'all, let's talk about this. Discontinued makeup. As I said in the beginning, this is just a reminder to go into your collection, pull out the products that are no longer with us. Rest in peace. And use them, you know, love on the products that are no longer existing, but that you spent your good hard-earned money on. Now, I just want to wrap things up by telling you guys how I feel about certain products. The Bad Beauty foundation, I think this is absolutely amazing. I do think it wears really well. I think it sits on the skin really nicely, and it lasts a pretty decent amount of time. And I do think that this is a foundation that is actually suitable for both dry or oily skin. I don't think that it leans too much either way. So I can wear this in a lot of different settings. Now, if it is a super hot, crazy day, I don't think it necessarily lasts as long on my oily skin, but I'm not mad at it. And I wouldn't be mad if it came back. Now, what I really want to come back is this Berlin Underground palette from Nomad Cosmetics. I love, really love this palette. And it's interesting because this is the older formula, like I said. This is very, very satin-like. And I think that this is really beautiful for us neutral girlies, because I think the shimmers in here are the type that you literally can put one on the lid, buff it out with a little bit of bronzer, and you have a look. I don't think you need a lot with this. I think this is such a good wearable, travel friendly, everyday friendly palette. And while I can see some of these that look very similar to each other, I do think this is the perfect one and done palette if you just want to pick one, buff it out, and, you know, just go about your day, go about your business. The Dior powder, no powder, for whatever what you call it, I guess they call it a translucent powder. It says it has an all-day matte finish. Now, this is definitely not the most mattifying powder. I do think it's actually more suited for dry skin. But I do like this powder, and I wish that they would bring it back because I do find it to be the most lightweight translucent setting powder that I have. And I was really holding on to it. I don't know what it, or if they're going to reformulate it. If they do, I'd be interested in giving it a try. The House Lab blushes, oh, rest in peace. I really like these guys, and like I said, I like these more than the new House Labs formula. I really do. So quite frankly, I would love to see it come back. We didn't need the dual with the blush and the highlighter, but just the blush by itself, chef's kiss. Like, look at this face, just blushed and glowy. The Morphe Glamour Bronze Bronzer, that's just a solid one. And for drugstore, I think it's actually really, really, really nice. I don't know if it's just that shade that's gone, but I do think it's a solid bronzer and one that I continue to reach for till this day. It's not too red, not too neutral, gives the perfect amount of bronze, and blends out like a dream. And finally, the Marc Jacobs highlighters. These are amazing. These are huge. This will never, ever end. Look at this. This is the size of my face, you guys. So, I don't know. I'll be interested to see what this new Marc Jacobs line is looking like. They said 2025, so we have a ways to go. So, I'm going to be interested to see if it's all new formulas or if they keep some of their, you know, old holy grails. Because the highlighter, chef's kiss, I do think it's definitely on the more blinding side, but it does blend into the skin really, really nicely. So, if you have textured skin or if you're worried about it emphasizing texture, I think it doesn't do that at all, but it gives really nice shine. So, yeah. Okay, now it's my turn to remind you guys to go check out Lux's video. Send her some love, leave some hearts, some black hearts under her comments, and just let her know that I sent you. And if you are joining me from Lux's channel, I hope you enjoyed seeing my video today. I hope you'll consider subscribing for even more content. As always, I want to thank you guys so very much for rocking with me today, and, you know, just being here for this Get Ready with me. This was really a lot of fun and such a good, you know, reminder for me to go into my collection and use what I already have. So, like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. As always, I appreciate you guys so much more than you know. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!